Thank you for joining me again. I would like to do another test video for the Sigma 20mm that I'm filming with at the moment. So the 20mm f1.4 art lens from Sigma. I'm filming with the Canon 80D. So the reason I booked this equipment from Lenses for Hire is because I want to purchase this equipment this year for myself to use, and yeah, I just wanted to test it because the lens is very expensive. Being an f1.4, it's a very good lens for low light, and that means it's a very expensive piece of glass. It has a big opening, and I think it's like 1 pound, well, not pound, 1 kilogram. It weighs only, like, the lens itself is heavier than the 80D, so you can imagine. I just want to show you quickly, like, at the moment I'm filming at ISO 800, shutter speed 80, and f1.4, like the lowest the lowest f-stop. So I'm really close to my wall, but if I get closer to the camera you can get a sense of how blurry this Sigma lens can get. I mean, not the lens, what kind of bokeh this lens can offer you. Being on an 80D, which is not a full frame camera, it offers the perspective of a, so the 20mm turns into like a 32 millimeters, which 32 millimeters is great for lots of kinds of photography. So you can do landscapes, you can do portraiture. I think it's not the best, like, for headshots. Normally for headshots it's recommended like 80 to 100, like the lens is best suited, because again you can get a really beautiful bokeh with it, with that sort of lens. But 30, 32 is a very good, it's a very useful lens because you can do street photography. At the same time you can get very close to your subject, and it's not as distorted. Like if it was 20mm, which this lens actually is, it would be, I think, more distorted. But being a 30mm, 32ish on my 80D, well, it's not my 80D, but hopefully in the future, it's not as distorted. I think the face is not as distorted. So yeah, that's why I'm looking into buying this equipment, because I want to do videos with creative minds, or like musicians, painters, writers, and I want to have like a quick and easy setup to do, like use the mic I'm using at the moment, which is like an external mic, Boya lavalier. It's very cheap but quite good quality sound, and like a camera, and I want 2 lenses, this one and another one. So as I was saying, I'm hoping for a really good setup, but simple, because I'm not the most technical person. So I just want something that looks cinematically very, very good. And this Sigma lens, like, as you can tell, like, I'm feeling the light is not great. I mean, it is light bulb and stuff, so it's quite bright, but still for evening, like, I don't know, it's just, I'll show you how close I can get with this lens. But first I'll talk about one issue I'm having in this lens is, as you can hear, it's quite noisy. I am really close, like I'm like probably under a meter from the camera, and I am using an external mic, but I think if the camera was further away from me, I wouldn't have an issue using this mic, which I am planning to do. And the sound is not horrendous if you use this mic, but if you want to use the sound, like, you have to be very careful with what sort of mic you use, because when it's focusing you can hear it, and you can hear it very well. It's not like it's noticeable. But for what I want to do, like setting up a scene and interviewing people from like this distance, and once it's on the person, unless they move really abruptly and the camera is going to try to pick up and focus, it's not going to be very noisy, and even if it is, it's not terrible. For the effect that it gives me, it's something I really want. So yeah, as you can tell, like I'm quite close to the back, like the background is not too far away from me, but as soon as I get closer to the camera, you get this gorgeous creamy bokeh behind me, and that's what I want to do for interviews, documentaries and stuff like that. So I'll show you how close I can, yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's gonna focus so close. Yeah, it focuses really close. At the moment, the setup is tracking my face. So if I'm moving, you can see it's picking up my face, which was one of the issues I had with the other camera. The camera wasn't very good at fast focusing, so you had to use manual focusing. Obviously, it's good to use manual focusing, you should, but not for when you're doing like this sort of stuff and you're moving around. You can't manually focus if you're talking on the camera, especially with me if I'm doing YouTube videos for my writing stuff. I don't want to be thinking, oh my god, it's not focused, oh, you know. So this setup would be perfect for me. And it's not like, because I'm not a very technical person, although I've done film at university, I'm not the most technical person. I get a bit nervous if I don't know how to use the equipment. Unless it's my own, I can break it, that's it. I don't want to break someone else's stuff. So yeah, I think it's a very good equipment. And then the camera is not very expensive, but if you pair it with really good quality lenses, you can get something like really professionally looking, and you can use it for movies, documentaries, as I want to do in the future, like interviews, but like artistic interviews, not any random sort of interviews. I wouldn't carry this camera everywhere because the lens is very heavy. It's not like to play around with it. You have to use it professionally if you spend that much money on it. So yeah, I mean, I can show you if I'm changing the video. I'll move from 80. It's getting darker obviously, so I'll leave it back at 80. I don't want to really experiment with that because it will get really dark and the video will just be weird. But yeah, what should I tell you about the lens other than I've used it at the lowest f-stop, f1.4, because that's the reason why I got this lens. I don't want to, like, if I'm gonna purchase it in the future, I want to use it for its bokeh. Otherwise I might as well film with my phone, because my phone has pretty good quality, but you can't compare it to this sort of stuff, especially when you want to do a professional interview. You can use it, it's very good quality, but for more cinematic stuff it would help to have something like this. And as I was saying, I filmed at 1.4 because I want to see how creamy it looks when I look back on the footage, and consider, oh, so I should buy this, can I afford it, is it worth it for the money? I mean, so I filmed at the lowest f-stop because, yeah, you can tell. I haven't used it as much actually. I haven't used it outside because I was a bit ill and it's cold, so I haven't really. I've been out and I've taken pictures but haven't done video a lot. But I've been using it for the last few days indoors to do like YouTube videos about my novel and other books and stuff like that. And you can see, like, it's good quality. Like, for me, the bokeh is like, oh, and the fact that this lens focuses on my face really quickly, it's amazing. I love it. So I wanted to do a review of it because it's not the most common lens we can buy, because as mentioned, it's 20mm, but on a Canon 80D it becomes 30ish mil. So it's 35. It's a very common lens used by photographers and videographers. I believe Call Me By Your Name, the movie I was talking about in a few reviews previously on my channel, was shot with a 35, the entire movie. if I'm not mistaken. It's either 35 or 50. I believe it's 35 because 50 would be too narrow. So yeah, it's a very common lens, but not on a full frame. So I mean, the 20, it's on the Canon 80D becomes 30, about 30, so that's a common size, but not a 21, if you get what I mean. So yeah, for my setup, I would be very happy to have this because it's easy to set up. Obviously the drawback is that it's a fixed lens, being a prime lens, so you don't have zoom and stuff like that. But because it's a wide lens, as mentioned, you can use it for portraiture and you can use it for long shots like landscapes, and it's very good for portraits because you can incorporate the landscape behind the your subject, and depending on what f-stop you can see the landscape more or less. Obviously I would want to see it less because why would for documentaries obviously you'd need a combination, but if you're gonna have the person speaking in front of the camera, just have a blurry background and then show other stuff in focus, other b-roll. But yeah, for what I want, it would be great to get this equipment. Be very helpful for my career, and I would love to tell people stories using this equipment. Yeah, I think it gives me what the only issue is with the sound from this when you're focusing. Yeah, I think I'm not sure what the minimum focus distance is, but as you can tell, it's like, yeah, I think that's very close. My finger is quite thin, so and it's supposed to focus on my face, so I'm not sure if it's gonna focus on the finger now. But yeah, it's yeah, on my hand, because my hand is big, but it's bigger than a finger. Well, this is not going very well. Oh, anyway, you get my point. Like, it's focusing on my face because that's what I wanted to do. So it keeps trying to like focus on my face because I was putting in my hand. But yeah, the only drawback I find of this lens is the noise it makes when you're focusing. But I mean, it's not terrible for taking pictures and stuff. Maybe if you're doing wedding photography, it's not as bad. It's still, I mean, you can hear it. There's other lenses out there or other cameras which you cannot hear. They're like silent. But it's mentioned, for the purpose I need this equipment, like doing documentary work, this would be perfect because it gives me a cinematic look. And yes, the lens is expensive. I believe it's over £1,000, probably 1,200 if not more, and the camera is like 700 or 600 pounds, so it's less money. But it's good to invest in good lenses. Like, the lens gives much better quality. You can have the best camera, but if you're using a crappy lens on the camera, your footage is gonna look crappy as well. So yeah, it's, my opinion is like, I'm loving the lens. Gives really good bokeh. I used it for my book reading event. So yeah, it's very, very good for low light. I would be shooting weddings with no problem. I would be very, very happy to do that. I wouldn't be scared at all. It's going to be really dark and what am I going to do? Yeah, it's very, very useful piece of equipment. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this long review, ended up being very long, but yeah, these are my thoughts on the lens. Yeah, if you have any questions, please ask me. But yeah, as I said, I'm not the most technical person, so if you want to know all those sorts of things, I might not be able to help you. But in terms of usability and stuff like that, yeah, definitely this would be great, even for like, let me show you, what should I show you? I'll show you this. Like detail work, it's like the lens is very close to the subject right now, so you could do like review videos and or like review products and show the product using this lens very well. By the way, this is a carving done by my father. He's a sculptor, and he does, this is one of his smaller stuff, but he does really massive wood carvings. I've done an interview with him, and there's a short clip on YouTube with it. Well, not quite short, it's like 5 minutes or something. So yeah, I think it would be it would be a very useful lens, because it has a minimum close distance, and then so you can get very close to subjects, but then you can get like really blurred background, and you can get a lot in the frame. So yeah, it depends what you need. I mean, if you need a really wide lens, the 20mm is good, but probably 16mm would be much better. And then if you use it on a full on a camera that's not full frame, that wouldn't be a 20mm, it would be a 30. So and then you can get portraits done with it. I was using it today for like testing it to do headshots, but I mean, obviously it's a bit difficult to take your own picture. But yeah, it was very good. I think if I were to photograph someone, I would get away with it. Maybe not headshots, because headshots are really tight, but portraits definitely. I would love to use that for portraits. This lens for portraits. So thank you so much. It's a really long review. So yeah, I don't know if I'll put pictures on this. I might put some on my blog, but yeah, I mean, you can tell in the video the quality of the bokeh. I'm not the kind of person who's interested in like, oh, how does it look at f16 or what, f22 or whatever is the maximum f-stop. The point of getting this lens for me is to get the best quality bokeh. Like if I'm gonna, as mentioned, if I'm gonna pay money to get a lens that goes to f1.4, I'm gonna use it at f1.4. I'm not gonna like spend money to use it at f5. What would be the point of that? So yeah, anyways, thank you so much for watching. This is a very long review. I hope you guys find it useful. If you have any other thoughts on the lens, please let me know. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this. Have a lovely evening.